You've been following a story that stretches from Idaho, the location of our one of our remaining contests, to Washington tonight.
That's right. There was the very scary sidebar story to the Idaho primary, which is that on Saturday, Ted Cruz flew into Idaho, did an event at Coeur d'Alene. He did a campaign event, but it had an invocation by a local pastor. The day after that event, that local pastor was ambushed in the parking lot of his church and shot multiple times, including in the head. Miraculously, he survived, and he's actually regained consciousness today. The person who was the person of interest, the suspect in that case, they put out a description of him, they put out his name, they put a description of his car and his license plate, but they could not find him since that shooting on Sunday. Tonight, they have found him, and in all places, he was at the White House. They found him in Washington, D.C. He was arrested after apparently throwing some non-hazardous substance over the White House fence. This is a person who's considered to have serious mental health issues, but that shooting suspect in custody with the most surprising end to that story. It's bizarre and scary in lots of ways, but that person is in custody.
Shocking when it came over a few minutes ago and we connected the dots. We have a projection, and that is that Ted Cruz is our projected winner in Idaho. Let's see where we're placing the rest of the field in order. Often the projected winner does not mean the finishing order after that. Chuck Todd?
Look, this is something for, I was going to say before this tonight, it had seemed as none of the challengers to Trump had anything to hang their hat on.
Yeah.
Ted Cruz now gets to say, I won something. It's the only thing, continues to be the only guy that consistently can say, hey, when Trump's not winning, if somebody else is winning, it's usually me. So that helps. He's now pulled into second in Michigan, and his lead over Kasich for third is expanded. So he'll be second in both Michigan and Mississippi. He will continue to make this case tomorrow, which is, hey, if you want to stop Trump, I might be the only vehicle left to do it. But of course, as we know, the establishment Republican Party insiders, they think, what Lindsey Graham said, pick your poison on how do you want to go. But Ted Cruz consistently is the best organized campaign. He will be a player. If this is an open convention, he will be as pivotal a player. I guarantee you he will know his delegates better than anybody else. I guarantee you his delegates will be more loyal than anybody else, even more loyal than Trump's. So look, this is a well-run campaign. They're not dropping the ball on Idaho. Okay, this was a state, they don't drop the ball on the little states. They do sort of there's sort of a little engine that could hear.
Trump didn't even try in Idaho. He did one candidate who didn't visit, didn't spend any, had money, nothing.
But before this, I was going to look at this. Everything fell Trump's way tonight. Yeah. Kasich didn't get second, no momentum going into Ohio. Marco Rubio is in fourth place in both Michigan and Mississippi. He's sitting at 5% in Mississippi.
Below John Kasich.
Yeah. Below John Kasich. Marco Rubio's technically from the South. I mean, I always say when you're from Miami, you're so from South. You're from,
still, if you're at 5% in a state that arguably is at the heart of the Republican Party base, how can you be the Republican nominee?
There's an exit poll number to me that was the most devastating to Marco Rubio, and I'm going to ask him about it tomorrow. I have this town hall with him. 60% in Mississippi said they would be dissatisfied if he were the nominee. 60% of Republicans said they would be satisfied if Trump or Cruz were the nominee.
Yeah.
How is he upside down like this?
They can thank.
It's a collapse.
They can thank right-wing talk radio for that.
I think talk radio did hurt him.
Of the four Republican candidates, there is one who is relentlessly attacked on right-wing talk radio.
And this is new.
Every day.
And this is new for him.
But it's been over the immigration issue. Yeah. Ever since the Gang of Eight, he's been attacked relentlessly every day. He's been considered poison. They've been against every second of his presidential candidacy.
Well, it has worked.
Well, right.
And this would be Mississippi Republican primary electorate would be a place where that would take a.
Let's just, just the broad view on Marco Rubio right now is that not only is he in single digits both in Mississippi and in Michigan, but he's losing to John Kasich both in Mississippi and in Michigan. I mean, the really big picture is that of the 23 states that have voted now, we've got 14 of them going for Donald Trump. I mean, the idea that we're talking about any suspense about who's going to be the Republican nominee is starting to feel like a farce.
So, and if Cruz over the next week continues to make his argument, a vote for anybody else is a vote for Donald Trump. You got to coalesce around me. And the establishment, the rest of the party continues to say, well, I don't know about Ted Cruz, and half-heartedly. Then how does Donald Trump not win?
The problem they have is they're sort of stuck in Ohio and Florida in this respect. Both states have early voting. Rubio and Kasich have already banked too many votes for them to pull out.
Right.
The time has come to reset for our next hour of coverage. This will be midnight on the East Coast. Already been an eventful evening. Stay with us. That's it. Thought there was going to be more to it. We welcome you back.
Welcome to my life.
As we say.
Do you want us to hum the music, the election Does that help?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it helps enormously. Thank you all very much.
Gina and I actually did this in our private time, too.
Here's the plot line so far tonight. Michigan for the Democratic Party. Split look for the Democrats, as you'll be hearing. It's all on the big board behind me. Bernie Sanders was awarded the state of Michigan. It took a long time after poll close for good reason and a very high percentage before that call came in tonight. Earlier in the evening, it was a landslide victory in Mississippi as Hillary Clinton continued her success in the South. A huge victory over Bernie Sanders in Mississippi. The GOP primary late tonight, Ted Cruz was the projected winner over Donald Trump, 42 to 29%. Rubio third, Kasich fourth. GOP primary in Michigan. Part of the Donald Trump stitched together victories tonight that is giving him a very impressive national map. Ted Cruz and narrowing out John Kasich in the later hours tonight. Looked like Kasich was going to have a second place finish there in Michigan for a while. Down south, Donald Trump, the victor in Mississippi. Cruz in second, and then a huge drop off to single digits. The national map right now, the GOP primary, our last graphic there in the corner. You see the various colors? Trump, Cruz, Marco Rubio, and nothing for John Kasich. Here's the Democratic map. Hillary Clinton in gold, Bernie Sanders in blue. That's where we stand. Andrea Mitchell watching it all with us from Washington. I'm sorry she's not.
No.
Hi, Rachel.
I'm Rachel Maddow.
How are you?
From right here.
Got a big board behind us.
The issue on the Republican side remains the same, which is that Donald Trump is going to win or nobody's going to win. Right now, it looks like the only other person in contention to even try to win is Ted Cruz. John Kasich wants to win his home state. Probably his best shot of winning anywhere else was tonight in Michigan. Right now, at least, he's not even second in Michigan. He's third to Ted Cruz. Marco Rubio keeps telling everybody that tonight doesn't matter at all unless he wins Hawaii, in which case that'll be very important. But so far, he's only been able to pull out wins in the Minnesota caucus and in Puerto Rico. He's hanging it all on his home state, but again, your home state alone is not enough. Either Donald Trump is going to wrap up the nomination, in effect, next week, 1 week from tonight, with those big delegate prizes in all those states that are going to vote, or it will be decided at the convention. There's no other option for the Republican Party. And if Donald Trump keeps having just commanding nights like he's having tonight, he's going to have a difficult, I think anybody else is going to have a difficult argument on their hands in terms of trying to make a small d Democratic case for why he shouldn't get the nomination, why he wouldn't have earned it. And that, we knew that was sort of the forecast heading into tonight. It is underscored absolutely when you look at this devastating national map, you look at his absolute dominance in the Republican race, and you look at the ease of these victories tonight. I mean, there is no reason to compare him and Hillary Clinton at this point, except for the fact that they're both front runners. But for her to lose Michigan tonight, for him to wrap it up as handily as he did, he's in a commanding position.
You know what's amazing about his win map is that it's so heavy in the South. That was supposed to be the Ted Cruz path to victory.
Yeah.
Right. It was supposed to be, and this was a map that was made for Cruz, and essentially Trump stole it. Yeah. You know, it was able to, he's run even with them essentially with evangelicals, give or take, depending on the state. And then he ends up winning all these white working class voters that some of whom have come in that haven't voted in primaries in the past. But look, this is, you laid it out very fairly. This is it. It's do or die next Tuesday. They either stop him in Florida and Ohio, or he's the nominee.
Is there any coherence to the places where Ted Cruz has won? Because he didn't pull off a traditional Southern strategy, which we thought he would. He has won in these scattershot spots.
He has won in places where it's usually, you can tell a Ted Cruz state in a few ways. Number one, it touches the state of Texas.
Right.
Okay,
sure.
that has helped.
Okay.
Number two, it's a closed process, closed primary, only open to registered Republicans. Donald Trump does better when you have independents and Democrats coming in. And then the third part of it is if the little more rural it is, because usually a little more rural, a little more religious it is. You know, Idaho fits that pattern a little bit. Even Iowa fits that pattern, but it's also, you know, while it's same-day voter registration, it is only open to Republicans only. So that is the pattern for Cruz, which is really the traditional Santorum-Huckabee pattern. The problem for Cruz is he has not demonstrated an ability to go to, all he is a better funded version of Santorum and Huckabee. He has yet to prove
that's devastating, but that's totally true.
But he has yet to prove that he can do something greater than that, that he can go and win a big swing state. He wants to target Illinois and Missouri. If he pulled off something like that next Tuesday, that's a big deal. He needs to find a place to win next Tuesday in those big five. North Carolina, he can pick off a lot of places. We'll see how he does. Illinois and Missouri, I think he's going to spend time in. He needs to win. Missouri's should be ripe for him. That's a Southern-like state these days. There's a reason the University of Missouri joined the SEC. It's cultural as much as anything else. I think there's a shot that he has there, and if he's going to be the nominee, he kind of needs to win.
Can we talk just briefly about Cruz's shot in Florida? Obviously, there's been a lot of noise about Cruz making this very big, splashy entrance into the Florida market. People are seeing that as basically a psych-out move for Marco Rubio. If Marco Rubio does as badly as it looks like he's going to do tonight, though, and he continues to crater, if his national momentum slows down even further so that it does really damage his prospects in Florida, does Cruz have any shot of doing anything in Florida?
No, all he does is hand it to Trump.
Right, he's kicking Rubio while he's down. I mean, you know, the whole point of it is to just bash Rubio, keep him from winning. And
this is the weird gamble that Cruz is making, and I get it. But the gamble is, I want to get Rubio out of the way sooner or later. I got a quick way to get him out. If we dilute his vote and let Trump win, then Now, it strengthens Trump short term, which is why I think this is such a high risk. But he gets Rubio out of the way because one of the things they've discovered is Rubio and Cruz, they are more each other's second choice than people realize. They do share more supporters. And so the two have been in each other's way in some of these states, at least, although tonight, Marco Rubio wasn't in anybody's way.
Right.
But I think that's been what the Cruz campaign has calculated.
Let's go to Detroit and bring
at this point think that strengthening Trump short term was a good idea.
I agree.
I think
some of this is driven by personal antipathy is what's going on
here. You know
here.
what? A lot of
it is. I mean, there's a lot of bad blood here. I know it's weird and human, and we don't like to talk about that, but some people hate each other.
Chris Matthews in Detroit. I call this if you would have told me a year ago election season, everyone starts every sentence. On the Democratic side,